Nice screenshot, Tad.
Yeah, I think he was looking really hard for that one, but
Oh, I wasn't. No, I took the unlike what I normally do, which is go back and look for screenshots. I took this while I was watching it. I was like, "That's it. That's mine. I
There
got
it
it."
is.
Covering a real rabbit's corpse with fake blood.
well, if you'd like,
and they killed that pig too.
Oh, they
Yeah.
sure as fuck.
They sure-
They
that was
killed
a-
the pig. They killed the goose.
I guess we're
Yeah.
starting with that movie, huh?
yeah, I guess we're
Are we
well,
now?
we're now
We're
well into
starting with
Jean-Luc
Weekend.
Godard's Weekend,
The
1967.
the fucking goose corpse is just flapping for a while there on the ground next to the dead pig, and
Yeah.
for a while, and then
Quite a while.
eventually it just kind of dies, and then the rest of the scene goes on in the background.
Mm.
Whatever the scene was, I don't remember. Because what do you remember anything about this
No,
movie?
no.
Somebody was talking about something.
No, I feel like I hallucinated all of this.
Well,
Like, I don't-
then you know what? Then the film worked.
I've had really weird dreams this week, but long before I watched this movie. I've just been having a really strange week of dreams, and this just fell neatly into this could have been one of the dreams I had this week. I don't know. Did this movie happen? I have no idea.
It makes about as much sense as a dream.
Mhm.
Well, there's definitely a logic to it, and it's definitely a picaresque, kind of
Sure.
kind of a journey. But I love that. The question is, do you think this was the end of the world? Or
No,
just
no,
a
this
thing
is
that-
just
they're
a. This is
using
just
car
a-
crashes as kind of like a
This is just a
metaphor.
weekend in
Weekend.
France in the 60s.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, it looks like the end of the world. Look at
Because this happens right before May '68, right?
Yeah,
Is
that's
when
true.
all the strikes basically
Uh-huh.
closed brought down the De Gaulle,
The whole country.
the
Right.
country.
But I thought it was just it kind of nice flow to it. I thought the beginning it started really strong. The kind of talk the woman was having about her weird sex life with I don't know.
No, you skipped over the
therapist
fight.
is
You
also
skipped over the
involved.
fight that it
the,
starts.
fi- the
with.
fight starts with
The
the fight.
fight
They
in the
went on
parking lot is.
The fight in the parking lot was pretty good. I think that's going on.
The fight in the
behind
parking lot is hysterical.
The
The
dog
end of
and
that,
the
the end of
shotgun.
that fight where he just walks
You
over, and
notice
just
that
kicks the guy in the
cars are
leg.
red, white, and
Yeah,
blue.
yeah. And it's good stuff. But that was fun.
She's throwing the mail at him. She opens the car, is running around and throwing the mail at him while they're chasing each other around the car. It was real
I just
wildly
like
coyote
the old
shit.
man who comes out at the end with the wiener dog and the
Oh yeah,
shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the
dog leaps to
second.
kid,
That's
and
the
then-
second fight.
That's
I'm
the second
talking about-
altercation in the
I'm
same.
talking- I'm talking about the top-down one where the
Where
guy
they're
in
just
the guy,
looking down at
the
it.
guy in
Yeah.
the mini. The guy in the mini pulls the other guy out of the car and gets his ass kicked.
Yes, that's right. Oh yeah.
This movie's unreviewable. I just have to say that. Like you
I
can't.
disagree.
No, you can't review this movie. This movie is entirely going to be dependent on like what you bring to it initially. Like you know what? It's fine. It's not fine. It's terrible. It sucks. It's awful. It's amazing. Like who cares? Like, you can't.
The thing is, also the film keeps saying how terrible it is. You notice
Right.
Yes.
And that it's a film.
Yeah,
And that it's a film.
everything
Yeah,
sucks.
halfway
Yes.
through,
that? It sucks.
they're
It's
like,
there's a terrible film. I hate.
Are
making
you
this
are
thing.
you in a novel or a film? I'm in a film.
No, it was real. Are you in real? Is this real life or are you in a film?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Oh, I'm in a film, and the guy drives away. Nope, you don't
That's
get a
right.
ride.
There's two. Yes,
answer.
there's two. There's the novel. Are you in a novel or a film? And then there's the are
Oh.
you in reality or in a film? And then the
Yeah.
guy drives away.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It was
well,
really, it was
at one
well.
point she just complains about you only meet jerks in these movies.
Yeah, that's right.
No, and like you.
No, all these
almost-
jerks are dead.
You
Yeah.
almost have sympathy for that woman who they crashed into the
Oh, the little sports car.
yeah the Triumph
Alpha
that crashes into the
This?
tractor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost have sympathy for her. And then when they're like, oh no, we can't, we have to go. And she just starts shouting, "You must be Jews," after the
Yeah, I know.
drive away. It's just like, oh, and then he puts his arm around her.
right.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I hate the Jews
Yes.
too. Okay. Like,
It made you wonder if he was actually playing this film day by day. He gets the setup, he gets the actors, he gets like the wreck, and then just kind of figures what's going to happen at the end of, at the end of the scene.
I mean, that
There's
would
almost
explain the whole thing with the
no
people.
connective tissue in this film.
That would explain the whole thing with the people in that scene in front of the background, and it's just the rotating group of people in front of the background, and then eventually it's all of them standing together like a class photo. Like,
oh, right, the class photo.
That's very much on the day filming.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mhm.
And also that you can tell he spent a lot of time thinking about that big that at the time a record-breaking tracking shot. Now that one.
Boy, you see every part of the crew in that scene. You see all of them in the
all the windows reflect all the crew, and you can see the tracks. You can see all things. But it was pretty neat. It was
300 meters. That's a fucking
which
long
is
way.
a 1,000-foot magazine. They started and ran it until it ran out of film.
And you get to see a lot of great old European cars.
Oh, well, that's what I
over
love
and over in many scenes until they're set on fire.
Until they all are burned up. Yeah.
Minis and
I
Fiats
love the
and
woman. I
Fossil
love the
Vegas.
woman who's backwards up in front of the truck. Like it's just like what?
Yeah, exactly. It's like
because that happens in a traffic jam.
Like Matt.
And because that's when I thought it was over. I was like, oh, this is the traffic jam, and it's like, no, it's not. It's
there's more.
Yeah. And then we're back to throwing balls back and forth out of the sunroof. Like,
also, mind you, that their car with a Fossil Vega, that's a very rare car. Beautiful car too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a kind of cut rate James Bond mobile. You know, if you don't have the budget for an actual Aston Martin, you get one of these.
This is sort of a cut rate James Bond movie.
It is a cut rate. It's James Bond on mushrooms, basically.
Actually, you know what it made me think of was Monty Python and the Holy Grail with less jokes.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
In that it's all sort of shot outside, it feels very impromptu, and it's a lot of wide shots. Of just people standing around doing things in the woods or any place that was
nothing.
Any place that was free to film. Basically.
Stop right there, John. You actually, I think you kind of flipped over Monty Python rather than this. A lot of their stuff in later seasons was like these long, like remember the guy had an ant with 4 legs. They go back to the department store. And he just kept rambling and all his weird stuff kind of. That was Godard influencing Monty Python,
right?
Him at least. So I think there's connective tissue between these things.
So that's not so off base then.
No, it's not. I think it was actually kind of astute, because as kids we were exposed to Monty Python first, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was my obvious go-to comparison because
John that John Bigby didn't show you this film. Because this was in my first class with them.
I'm trying to remember if we did any Godard. I think we did Masculine Feminine. I think that was the one we watched it in Bigby's class at the JC.
No, we did this one, and we did Weekend and Contempt, his Bridget Bardot flick.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the one place I kind of parted with this film was near the end, where you had these resentful-looking revolutionaries or whatever, garbage men, whatever they were, slowly eating a giant sandwich while staring at you, while some Marxist a-hole lectures you for like 5 minutes.
Well, it's the other guy, right?
Who cares? It's
the black guy.
It was giving me college flashbacks in a bad way.
It's so like I will say one thing about this movie. I will say one thing about this movie. This is absolutely the last movie that a liberal makes before they become a Marxist.
Which is what he did.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like this is right. You can see it. You can see it in this movie. You see him
turn in his film. Yeah.
Well, but also like the most vehement you are against an ideology is right before you become that ideology. Like you're trying so hard to hold the dam back. That you're just like, what if I find everything that's wrong with this? Mostly optics, not even necessarily what they're saying.
What if we have our Marxist revolutionaries living in the woods eating people?
Right, exactly.
And that's what you get in this film. You get the cannibal revolutionaries
and a good pig murder.
Yeah, it's a good pig murder and it's a good duck murder, but a goose murder. I mean, but the end was just like that was a Monty Python sketch. That was just like way out there,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or the end of remind me of the end of Fahrenheit 451 a little bit for some reason.
Well, that's Truffaut, so you're not.
Yeah, it's Truffaut. I'm not too far off the mark on that one. Yeah, but it's just
people walking around in the woods.
Yeah, people reading books and walking around in the woods, and intellectuals with foxtails in their hair.
Do we want to give Chris 5 minutes to just shit on this movie because
go ahead? I know
he's about to eat the end of that pencil.
I'm seeing Chris's needle is going all the way
over. Right.
All right, take it
Well,
away, Craig.
actually,
This one goes
no.
to 11.
No, I think because it's funny because I was texting Jim. I was watching this on the plane.
That's
I was watching
Flying
this.
home from the resort.
Wow, you
No, on the way there.
bastard,
On the
you.
way there.
Flying to the resort. All right.
And at about the halfway point, I was like, in my head, I'm like, this might be maybe my favorite Godard movie we've ever watched. Because I was completely 100% in on this weird surrealistic trip trying to leave France or trying to leave Paris. And I felt like it clearly had at that point, it had what I thought was there's clearly a political agenda in the storytelling, but it was buried behind all this weird surrealist farcical nonsense that was going on around these people as they're trying to leave.
it starts off as a Fellini movie.
Right.
Kind of like.
Well, yeah, I mean, except there's that really long conversation, it's like the third scene in the movie where it's just her describing this weird
sex thing.
Just with the egg and such.
Well, she's
Yeah, like,
brown panties, and the lighting is like dark.
Yeah, well,
It's
the camera
really
keeps going
dark.
in and
Which
going
remind me
out,
of a modern film.
and then going out.
And they go in and out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Weird,
like
like
I'm
sex.
like, this is fucking great. How have I not seen this? This is and then they get kidnapped. And Scott sort of alluded, although I think it jumped the shark way before like the last part. Like at a certain point, you're starting to get lectured to by the most boring people at the party you can't get away from.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was the feeling I got.
Lectures
Yeah.
happen
Yeah.
after the
Oh
rape.
fuck!
Like,
All right.
she gets raped twice.
Yeah. I mean, and then the animal slaughter. I wish I'd been prepared for. It's fine, but I wasn't prepared for it in that moment. But because it's like you're watching things on planes, and we'll talk about the next movie later. But watching things on planes where you can't I was constantly trying to cover the goddamn.
I was gonna say you're doing that scene in Manhunter where he falls asleep on the plane and the file opens up and all of the photos of the dead families come out.
Oh god.
And the kid sitting next to him starts freaking out. And the flight attendant comes over and it's like, and starts covering it up.
Once they got kidnapped, and it was just sort of endlessly being lectured.
Best characters in the movie, Scott.
That was. Oh. It's like it lost. Like it was. I felt like it was held together. It was just right on the knife edge, not going off the rails. And then once they got into the forest.
The baling wire finally gave out.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the thing.
The sandwiches.
It got didactic. It got really we're going to yell at the audience.
Out.
Get my point across.
I was so into it.
Happened before they get kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's not committed to it either.
Scene, that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not committed to it either. He's not committed to any of the things these characters are saying.
No, that's why he tries to run away.
No, well, I mean, Godard's not committed to
it. You mean the filmmaker? I thought you meant the character.
Yeah. No, he's also doing this as a parody. It's none of this. This is very much a nihilistic. I don't actually have an opinion about any of this stuff. Everyone's wrong.
I agree with it for what you're saying. I agree with for the first hour, and then
I think he's showing the absurdity of the boring ML person as they go on through that. I don't think any of it's serious.
Yeah.
And that's actually works.
Although
I think that makes
so Tad, you feel like the movie's saying the bourgeoisie are bad, but the Marxists are also bad.
Yeah. It's
if that's true, why would you stop the film dead and watch these guys eating sandwiches while you got lectured?
Because
he was trying to get his point across. I thought.
I think he's trying to make the audience uncomfortable.
He did a great job. So there's
the whole thing's a provocation. It feels
right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, even not only the content, but his filmmaking. There was a shot where he cut away from a story and then he faded up from black of somebody walking through the woods, and then it just went black and it faded up again of the same person walking through the woods.
Yeah, right.
It's just like he's making intentional mistakes just to irritate you. It irritates out of me.
The part where the film's on the top and the bottom.
We're not framed during the car crash. That was in the preview.
Right.
My Hermes handbag.
That was
I didn't watch the preview. I try not to know anything about Jim's movies specifically.
This was hilarious.
That one, I love that.
It's very funny.
That was
It's
actually
very
a great.
funny.
That was a great kickoff line. She was on fire when she said it too, which is the best.
That and the
he's
thing I put up the other
he's
day.
bleeding horribly from his back.
Uh-huh.
The guy. Oh, there is so much blood in this movie, and yet
my
no
God.
wounds.
You
No
mean-
wounds.
You
You
mean
never see a wound of any kind. Just there's blood pouring out of
Or people
cars
walking
and
around
down
with blood
people's-
down their shirts. And
Yeah,
there's
it's
so much
what?
there's so much Kool-Aid in this movie.
Yeah. Also,
Because-
so many guns fired, and no one ever dies.
yeah.
Or
No, lots
hardly
of
anybody
people
dies.
die, but nobody gets shot.
Yeah, nobody gets shot.
One of the most punk rock things I'd ever seen for the first hour. Like, this is fucking great. Like,
There was I thought there was a weird connection between this and Bonnie and Clyde. I thought that normalization of that casual normalization of violence kind of comes into this a
But
little
Bonnie
bit.
and Clyde shows
Before
the effects
before
of
they
violence.
hired Penn to do Bonnie and Clyde, they were trying to get Godard.
Okay, well
That
there it
makes
is.
a lot. That makes
Wow.
a lot of sense.
You know,
that
so
makes
I want to visit that alternate universe.
So he might have been doing the
Yeah.
research for this and just end up being that. We don't know, right? You know.
I said this before, but everyone wasn't here, so I'm going to say it again. This movie made me 100% believe that we have lost out by not having Jean-Luc Godard's Grizzly 3. Like this demonstrates what Jean-Luc Godard's Grizzly 3 could have
Yes,
been.
this was a
Like-
great practice run for Grizzly 3.
I had set in the woods
Yeah. And buckets of blood.
and buckets of blood.
Buckets
And-
of blood.
And good humor, actually good jokes coming through somehow. And that's behind me there.
And lots of people you want to see die.
Exactly. Emily
Well,
Bronte.
Emily Bronte and Tom Thumb.
No, it wasn't Tom Thumb. It was one. It's supposed to be representing. No, it is Tom Thumb, isn't it?
I
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
There's another
that-
character earlier on that's supposed to be Robespierre's best friend. I forgot his name.
This is
Joseph Balsamo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you know who plays him?
Who?
We've already seen him in another of my picks, which was The American Friend.
Uh-huh.
It's the director of The Mother and the Whore.
Oh, wow.
Jean-Luc
Mustache.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah.
getting a 4K restoration, I saw.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Anyway,
I think this that could benefit. Yeah.
I thought there's a lot of very striking scenes in this movie, even though you start to realize they were using all these cars, but just the parade through the countryside of France and like just the carnage along the side of the road, and the two folks in the car aren't even really noticing it all that much. It's like
All these jerks are dead.
I was 110% into this movie for like the first hour.
Okay, what turned you, Chris?
No, it
Sandwiches.
It's just a blah 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 blah.
So the end, that whole didactic, like we're gonna.
It wasn't even the end. It was like
intentional or not, it just kind of killed the film because it stopped.
There's a scene with the two guys.
Yeah, it runs out of energy.
Yeah, it does.
And they let the Arab guy go first, and then the African guy, or I can't remember, vice versa. But that's like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And
And all just like basically, you can hear the footnotes going as I was reading it. Like,
And again, it's a provocation. It's like fuck you, audience. You're gonna watch a guy eat a sandwich and listen to a lecture.
yeah.
Did you see the thing?
Maybe kind of hungry.
Punk rock.
Did you see the thing about how the actor who played the Arab guy was talking about Godard just abusing the shit out of the actress, the main actress?
I read about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the scene where he slaps her, they did that. They filmed that 10 times, and he's like, "We had it the first time. Like, I don't like." He did that to make me slap her over and over again, like
for other reasons.
And then there's another story of her telling a story about him saying, like, I hate you, I hate the character you play, your hair's too blonde, like all this other stuff. Like, this is he's having a real fucking personality crisis by the time he's making this movie. Like, and he just put it all on screen. He was
I mean, okay, that's what's going on. That's
always feels like when you watch these films that the sexual politics are decades behind the the other kinds of politics.
We'll get to that
involved.
in a minute.
I mean, there were no naked men in this movie, but there was a woman who was being used as a canvas to be painted.
There's a woman who is forced to disrobe before being killed and eaten. On screen, like you see it.
So it's some retrogressive stuff in there. Yeah, usually the spoken politics are way ahead of the sexual politics, the real politics. Yeah, but
which is still true today.
I think Ted put his finger on it though. This is if someone's having an epistemic crisis about what they believe, they're going to turn into a Marxist, and he wants to put it on screen. We just saw it. We saw someone going through a personal crisis.
Yeah.
That's what, and that was in that respect.
And unfortunately, personal crises aren't necessarily fun to watch
No,
from the
right.
outside.
They're not. No, they're not.
Like, it's very important to you. I understand, but like for me, I just like the rabbit covered in fake blood.
So, but we could say this film is self-indulgent.
Oh, absolutely.
That would not be a bad adjective. Just a bit. So, Jim, what were you saying? He makes up for it in 20 years?
Yeah, he marries pretty much a feminist filmmaker, and they move to fucking Switzerland and make things like they made that Hail Mary.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
and some other ones too.
He improved.
He had a weird relationship with like the women in his movies.
Yeah.
Well, but also if you're an actual Marxist, like if you read Marx has a lot of sexual politics. There is Marxist sexual politics are much more progressive in a lot of places, but so it would make sense for him on that arc to get better over time. Right. If you're really actually reading and accepting the theory.
So it's really a snapshot of him at this point.
Right. Also, he's going through a personality crisis.
Also, hopefully the 70s.
He's sort of a Maoist. And I don't think he ever really denounced that or apologized for it. It's sort of like the Stalinists during the Spanish Civil War. It's just, you go, what were you thinking?
Was that what he and Truffaut had a falling out, or was it filmmaking aesthetics, or was it politics that really split them up?
I think it was. I think during the May 28th thing, when they fired the guy who de Gaulle put in charge, was the Minister of Culture, Malraux. He fired Langlois, the guy who was running the Cinematheque, which is where all those guys basically lived for 10, 15 years watching movies. And they tried to shut down Cannes in 68 also, because that takes place around May too. And it was just something happened and they just sort of fell out with each other.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to do Jared's corner?
Well, let's hear Jared's.
Actually, you know what, John, I love the show sometimes. Now I'm thinking that he made us sit through two fucking guys eating sandwiches talking about
Marxism.
Is very consistent with the first half of this movie, which is an extremely punk rock way to wind the fucking audience up. And because of that, I'm taking this up a tick or two.
Okay.
So it's like you realize that it irritated you, and it's actually doing its job.
I wasn't thinking about that when I put this shirt on.
No.
Melvin's
that is a very punk rock thing to do.
The Melvins were always getting put as opening acts for bands that were bigger than them, and there was this one tour where they had to open for Rush. And I think,
oh Jesus,
well, what they would. And I saw them a couple other times opening for other bigger bands. And if they thought the audience wasn't into them from the get-go, what they would do is they would get out there and play all their songs at half speed. Just to fucking wind everybody up.
Not in a waltz.
I guarantee you're gonna hate us twice as much before we're done.
Oh, you don't like us, huh?
You don't like us? There you go.
Although
it's called brown noise.
You're talking
noise for 45 minutes. Fuck you.
You're also talking about Jello Biafra opening for Tool multiple times.
Well,
or Howard Rollins in general, who didn't mind lecturing people.
Oh wait, thanks for mentioning that, because Ralph Spite is the guitar player in the Guantanamo School of Medicine that Jello Biafra was singing for when he opened for Tool.
which is that's one of
that we had for Sonoma High.
The beginning of that show where everyone was booing the shit out of them, and then it finishes with him doing Holiday in Cambodia, and the entire crowd is into it by the end, is one of the biggest turns I've ever seen a live crowd do in my life. Like that's like sports level. Our team sucks, so we're booing them. Now they start winning, so we're cheering them. Like it was just, it was.
Well, you know, crowds are stupid. What are you gonna do? All right, give us Jared's corner, man.
Okay, I have not read these because I didn't want them to influence anything. So I just
Around the World and Backsnap hated it, right?
Hold on. I saw part of this while studying film in college. I think we were just shown the long tracking shot of the traffic jam. It's such an impressive shot. I love a lot of Godard's style. I love the intercut titles, the odd, seemingly random use of music during conversation scenes that cuts in and out, and the philosophical ideas explored here and throughout all of his work. Full disclosure, I was unable to finish the film due to time, but I saw about half of it.
So you saw the good half.
Saw the good half.
I have a theme here. You know, I fell asleep. Go ahead, finish it up.
To me, it's a steady combination of funny and frustrating, e.g. the incredible aforementioned tracking shot is an impressive visual feat, but the constant horn honking made me want to murder myself. That's the
kill
whole
myself.
half film
See,
to
there's
me.
something to annoy everybody.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
This is
poster.
There's more.
To annoy fucking everybody.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, this is interesting. This is kind of funny on I want to kill myself because this is so annoying. I like a lot of Godard stuff, but I detested Alphaville. I don't much care for this either, what I saw of it. His comments on modern society are not subtle here. I prefer when he makes films about love and relationships like Masculine, Feminine, and Breathless. Thumbs sideways from me.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Okay.
And to be honest, I sat down to watch this on Tuesday and fell asleep halfway through. I had to finish it Wednesday.
That does bring up something that I forgot I wanted to mention, but I do want to mention, which is I actually think as a subtitle watcher, you get a better version of this film because you don't lose as much of the dialogue to the music coming in and out.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that too, actually.
It's a fairly modern translation too, so there's a lot of like slang in it, which is nice.
Right.
Yeah.
The first time I saw this, it was a British English translation. So
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I thought the Criterion transfer was chef's.
I mean, look at this. Look at this.
So it's super pretty.
This really looks like a fucking gummy bear.
Like,
you could eat this.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Well, okay.
Jared's comments made me think of another way that this film is intentionally incompetent, and that was the music, where he was basically just dropping the same music cue in over and over again, the exact same piece of music, and it never worked. It was never appropriate for what was happening on the screen.
I also want to respond
to the whole circular scene in the farmyard where the guy is playing the.
Oh my god!
I want to respond to Jared's comment about the horn, though. The horn got funnier and funnier.
It get funnier and funnier.
Yeah.
Again, it's punk rock. It's annoying, but it's funny.
That gag gets so good by the end of it. Like I'm just like I was literally just laughing out loud by the time.
Well, leaning on a horn. That's always a good way to solve a traffic jam. Is just
if you're like me, you're in traffic and someone's like, it's hopeless, and someone starts honking the horn. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right, and because you're not,
I just want to make this worse.
Because you're not stuck in that traffic jam. It's so funny.
Yeah,
like
well, that's
it's
true.
so.
Right. I can see that being from the outside in. It's actually pretty good. Okay, we're going to thumbs at this point. We're almost going a half hour.
I was here. I'm gonna take it to this. Like. I think this is.
I'm right.
I would not watch this over. It made me want to dig up Jean-Luc Godard and smack him.
I love the old.
It's unreviewable. It gets no thumbs.
I love the old cars. I don't like being lectured to. That's basically me.
No, because there's a thumb there.
Yeah, this is totally it, right?
I think this would actually. Yeah, wait, I think this would actually work here.
This is an index finger. This is index finger. There is no thumb.
Top 10 movies for Jim. Okay, so 2 thumbs up.
All right, good enough.
I will say, Jim, I feel like
0 thumbs anyway.
I could have seen this already, and I do think that there are filmmakers that saw this and went like, "Oh, yeah, I gotta do one of these."
Oh no, it's a very influential film.
Yeah,
but it is like punk. Go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
Godard is one of those. He's an artist that I think people. He's better as an influence than he is to actually see his stuff.
Yes.
This is the Velvet Underground of films.
Not
a lot of people saw it, but everyone who did went on to make movies.
No, so
this totally ties into Chris's punk rock.
But also we established
metaphor.
the masculine and feminine that Godard is a filmmaker's filmmaker.
Yeah. See,
I
never
Well,
never mind the
very well
bullets.
as a film
Le nazisme
critic.
qui fit ressurgir la méthode de torture et de génocide des temps les plus reculés. Les pays les plus immédiatement visés par les manifestations du nazisme se liguèrent et prirent l'engagement non pas seulement de libérer leur territoire,